What's going on, guys? Welcome into Minnesota Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman. Fun show coming your guys' way today as we are looking at 5 surprising quarterbacks who could start for Minnesota next season. Obviously not named Kirk Cousins. We'll be getting into that and more on today's show. But I did want to kick it to Tom Pelissero here first. Some news of the day. The Vikings have agreed to terms with tight end Johnny Munt. And then he also added this note, which I thought was pretty cool, is he said Kevin O'Connell said last year he thinks Munt is the NFL's best number 3 tight end, and now Munt's staying in Minnesota. Overall, good signing for the Vikes. We do know TJ Hawkinson is going to be coming back from that knee surgery. Won't be back till about early November, maybe even late November of next season. So Josh Oliver, Johnny Munt going to be the 2 tight ends for Minnesota moving forward. Now, the reason I wanted to do today's show is because even though I do think Kirk Cousins will be back as the quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, I cannot kind of discredit all the rumors and reports that we have been getting swirling around possibly him heading to Atlanta. We did get this one earlier today from Diana Rossini saying, is this real? Is this a play? And I can tell you that the Atlanta Falcons' interest in Kirk Cousins is very, very real. Now, in terms of Cousins' interest in the Atlanta Falcons, Florio had this report early on this week. He said, we can't get into the specifics for now, but we're getting very credible indications that Cousins is seriously considering moving his family to Atlanta, which would mean, obviously, that he'd be signing with the Falcons. And one little note about Florio, he has been Kirk Cousins' agent mouthpiece for the past couple of seasons. We obviously know this, but, Florio, there is obviously some juice behind that. And we also go look at some of the books, like DraftKings, FanDuel, and all that. Kirk is the favorite, or Atlanta is the favorite to land Kirk Cousins as well. So there's definitely some truth to this. And also Kirk said this as well, dating back to the 28th, as he says, Kevin O'Connell said this, my feelings on Kirk Cousins haven't wavered in 2 years. If anything, they're stronger now. Kirk Cousins knows how I feel about him. I hold no secrets there. He knows how the Minnesota Vikings feel about him. I believe Kirk wants to be a Viking, and we're going to work to try to make that the outcome. So obviously the Vikes want Kirk back. Kirk wants to be back with the Vikings, but I don't know, man. There's some juice around this Atlanta stuff, and you never know if Kirk will end up there. But I got the 5 quarterbacks coming to your guys' way here in a second, but let's get you guys involved on today's video. Do you want Kirk Cousins back as quarterback 1 next season? Let me know your thoughts down below. Y for yes or N for no. I'll make this the pinned comment on today's show. So scroll on down there, answer today's pinned comment of if you want Kirk back next season. Now, this one may be a little unlikely as Russell Wilson is currently in Pittsburgh right now, but Russell Wilson, number 1 for me, coming at 35 years old, and this would just be an interesting choice. And, Russ actually last season did not have that bad of a year. Obviously Sean Payton came in and sort of fixed him a little bit, but threw for 26 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. And obviously you would have the part of it where you could sign Russell Wilson for a veteran minimum deal. Will the Vikings do that? Because it would kind of be throwing an FU to the Denver Broncos a little bit. We'll probably have to wait and see on that. But even though Russell Wilson, and I've said this, I really do believe he could still be a good kind of bridge quarterback for a young rookie. And I don't think it would be the typical bridge quarterback that you think of where it's like, a Kirk Cousins where he kind of have his arm around the guy and really, helping him out. I think it would be almost a leading by example type of good mentor quarterback that I think Russell Wilson could be, even though he would be corny and everything. But I do think Russ is obviously very dedicated to the game of football. I think a young quarterback could see that and learn from it. So Russell Wilson, he would keep you in contention in the division, and he could also be a good mentor quarterback for the vet men. I'm 100% down. Now let's get to Justin Fields here, coming at 25 years old. Listen, I like Fields. Now, the whole argument here is that why would the Chicago Bears trade Justin Fields in the division? And I totally understand that. But, as recent reports have started coming out, there might be a thinner market than we thought originally for Fields. Following the scouting combine, we've heard these reports that teams are going to wait on decisions from Kirk Cousins, from Baker Mayfield before they try to go all in on Fields. So maybe Chicago gets desperate enough and Kwesi says, hey, we'll throw you a 2nd, a 3rd round pick, and it could definitely see Fields being an option here. Now, breaking down Fields' game a little bit. Obviously, he does struggle still to throw from the pocket, but the thing I love about Fields the most, if we're taking an optimistic view on his game, is his dual threat ability. I mean, you go throw on his highlights, you would be thinking that this guy's a top 10 quarterback in the league. He makes splash plays, he pops off the screen, but, at the end of the day in the NFL, You got to be able to throw from the pocket on these 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 7s. Can you use your arm to pick up those first downs? And I think Justin Fields is the definition of a boom or bust option for Minnesota. Like, let's just say the Vikings do trade for him and he ends up taking that big next step with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, Kevin O'Connell, and he looks like a true franchise quarterback. That'd be great. What if it's a disaster? What if they trade a 2nd or a 3rd for Fields and don't draft a quarterback, and then maybe Justin Jefferson's sitting there thinking like, oh, wow, well, what the hell do we do now? I don't know. I would probably be going more the Russell Wilson route instead of going Justin Fields, but you guys let me know. Pick a quarterback for me. Go RW for Russell Wilson or JF for Justin Fields. I'd probably go Russell Wilson as it stands right now, but I can definitely see the hype around Fields because, man, that would definitely be entertaining, no doubt. Let's get to Jameis Winston here. Of the New Orleans Saints, he was actually linked by USA Today to Minnesota as a potential option, and this would just be fun. I mean, obviously, this is the guy who threw for 30 touchdowns, 30 picks in a season, and his stats with the Saints from starting 10 games over the last 2 seasons, he's got 20 touchdowns, 11 picks, 2,300 yards, completion percentage, obviously not where you would like it to be, not the most accurate quarterback, but he'll push the ball downfield. He'll give 50-50 balls to your receivers, and Jameis would be a fun option as a bridge quarterback. I do still think, even if it's a guy like Ryan Tannehill as well, like you could bring in these veterans that have just been around the league for a while, and I think it would be a ton of fun because also Jefferson might go for 2,000 yards if Jameis starts all 17 games. He will be looking his direction every single play. It would be a ton of fun. Obviously, if I had to pick a quarterback, Jameis would definitely be, lower on that list. I got 2 more names coming up here in a second, but I do want to tell you guys about this great deal we have going on at Fanatics right now. And if you guys go to chatsports.com/Vikings hoodie, you guys can get one of these sweet hoodies for up to 50% off. Make sure you guys click this link. I just got one of these today, so it's going to be coming here shortly. I actually probably wear it on the show for you guys. So make sure you guys check that link out, chatsports.com/Vikings hoodie. Put that in the comment section and description of today's show. Get hooked up today, 50% off, hell of a deal. Want to hook you guys up with, just a great price. So make sure you guys check it out. All right, let's head to Gardner Minshew now, 27 years old. Did a great job with the Indianapolis Colts last season. Had them battling for playoff spot and the division up until the end of the year. And listen, the thing about Gardner Minshew, I think he's very similar to Jameis Winston a little bit. He's a lot more probably, I would say, a lot more disciplined in throwing the football. He's not going to, take the chances that Jameis would. He's going to play more within the offense. I think Kevin O'Connell would get the most out of Gardner Minshew. If he would come here, let's just say he plays 17 games, I still think the Vikings could win about 7-8 games and let a rookie develop behind him. But Gardner, I'd be interested in. Obviously, wouldn't pay him probably more than about $10 million. But to be a starter for a year, if you want to go that route of sitting in a rookie quarterback, that would be a great choice as well. Now, I told you guys these are surprising quarterbacks that could start for the Vikes. Well, how about Jaren Hall? And I know you guys might be saying, oh my God, sound the alarm. Why would Jaren Hall ever start for the Vikings again? And that's kind of my point here. If Jaren Hall is somehow QB1 next season, this offseason went horribly wrong. That would mean Kirk Cousins left out the door, probably went to Atlanta. Also means you probably didn't draft a quarterback or you didn't trade up for a quarterback and none of them fell to you at 11. And that also means in free agency, you were probably waiting on the draft and wanted to move off there. So, listen, if Jaren Hall's the starter next season, I'm probably out on that. But, obviously we have to wait and see. I do think they're going to go a different route. I still think it's going to be Kirk Cousins back in Minnesota and the Vikings draft J.J. McCarthy. That's my prediction. I think a lot of also mainstream media members have kind of caught in steam of that the Vikes are really interested in J.J. and also that Kirk will be returning. But if you guys made it to the end of today's show, give me a skull down in the comments section. Really appreciate you guys watching. And as always, Skull Vikes.